Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Peace Talks. This is a series where we catch up with the artists and bands that are coming to play for us at the Marr Bar in Worcester. And today I'm joined by Philip Clouts. Hi Philip,
Hi there. Great
thanks
to
for
be
joining
here.
us.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
you're going to be bringing your quartet up on the 9th of April, Thursday the 9th of April,
Yes, that's right.
to the Mars Bar in Worcester. Really looking forward to that. So, yeah, before the gig, I'd just like to have a little catch up on these video series and sort of get to find out a little bit more about yourself and your music and so forth. So, I suppose let's go. You originally you're born in Cape Town, I believe, but
That's
you
true. So I was born in Cape Town, South Africa, um, and at a very early age, my parents decided to move to England.
Mhm.
Um, the political situation at that time in South Africa was pretty tough going for a lot of people. So we all moved to London when I was very young. However, my family had a very strong connection with South Africa. My father was a poet, and he
Okay.
particularly wrote about the South African landscape. So it was quite tough for him not being there. But
Mm.
equally, he had a very strong connection with South Africa as a country. And uh, amongst the music that was on the record player in those days, there was a nice compilation album called Music Sounds of Africa. So it had Miriam
Okay.
Makeba. It also had some Kwela, so that's like penny whistle swing
Mhm.
type music with really sort of distinctive South African sound, and a few other sort of a wide variety of South African music. And I think that made a very early impression. And so I've grown up with an absolute love of the music of South Africa. And so that was just very early influences. And I guess also in the house were records by Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles, so we had the swing and we had the soul type stuff as
Yeah.
well. So um, it was a pretty good springboard. And then as a teenager, just listened more widely. Discovered Chris McGregor and his band, the Brotherhood of Breath, and that was a real inspiration. Discovered Abdullah Ibrahim,
Mhm.
um, sort of real master pianist. And I think when I was a teenager, I went to see a concert of his, and he actually played the flute in that one as well.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah, that was a really really good introduction to that whole area. Um, and yeah, growing up. On and off. I was playing some piano. I had a few lessons as a child, and then sort of went my own way a bit and was
Mhm.
stopped the lessons, but was improvising a bit.
Yeah.
And then when I was a teenager, we were lucky enough to find a guy who was actually teaching jazz. So I sort of pretty much launched into jazz piano, if you
Right.
like. Um, and only at a much later date did I kind of explore more of the classical world. So yes, growing up, I mean, I didn't realize music was going to be the thing till my early 20s. So I
Okay.
actually I studied social anthropology at
Right.
university. But again, interest in the cultures of many different cultures of the world, and you can definitely see that in the music I'm making now.
Yes.
Um, I I think I had a sort of moment of epiphany of some sort after my university course. So social anthropology is the study of other cultures, and I just thought, well, actually, not so. It's great studying other cultures, but I want to contribute to my own.
Right.
So
Okay. Yeah.
that was the point where I realised that, well, music was the way I was going to be doing that. And yeah, I suppose I'm condensing a lot of a lot of years into a short amount of time here. Um, so I just had lots of different interests apart from the South African jazz. Just as a teenager, listening to quite a lot of late night radio when they'd have the jazz program or
Right.
the program about progressive rock. Um,
Always kept out in the main time, yeah, the prime time.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. But those were a real inspiration. So I sort of grew up listening to the British jazz of the 70s.
Right.
So jazz rock was a big thing, and all of that sort of thing. And also, yeah, listening to progressive rock. I remember there was there was a band called Henry Cow. Have you come across them?
And naming's about, yeah, I've heard of. Yeah,
They're quite left field progressive rock, and again, this was the 70s, and Alan Freeman had this sort of pop show, and one day, I don't think he ever did it again, but he played a 20-minute chunk of music from Henry Cow, which is pretty left field progressive rock, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. So I checked them out at an early age as well. So lots of different musical influences, but I think the South African one was definitely a very strong one. And over the years, I've also really got a great enjoyment of Latin American music, so
right.
samba,
Hmm.
bossa nova,
Yeah, yeah.
all sorts of things like that. So I find that although South Africa is probably my prime inspiration, a lot of my music comes out in a Latin American style as well. So we've got different influences in there.
From all continents.
Yes, pretty much, pretty much. I did yeah, recently write a piece with more of a sort of inspiration from Eastern European folk as well. So that's been another one.
Cool. So yeah, some of the projects that you've worked on, one that I wasn't familiar with before we kind of started working
Mhm.
together was the Zubop.
Yes, well, Zubot was a fantastic group learning ground. I was watching your peace talks with who was it from Loose Tubes you had on recently? Well, not
Oh,
from
Eddie
Loose
Parker.
Eddie Parker. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think Loose Tubes was already on the scene when Zubop got together and was one of our inspirations. Just the kind of freedom of expression there, and basically, to cut a long story short, I was writing music in a an African influenced vein, and looking for people to play it with,
Hmm.
and I think there was just trying to think. I'm trying to get the history in my head, but basically, I managed to make contact with three horn players, so two sax players and a trumpeter, and they were all playing in a street band called the Fallout Marching Band,
Right.
um, and the three of them. I made contact with one of the sax players, Ricky Edwards, and he introduced me to the other two, and we realised that we had a totally uh, well, we really mixed together well with our influences. They were also really excited by African music and so forth, and we were all interested in composing as well.
Right.
So yeah, for many years we'd get together twice a week and just have kind of composing, playing sessions, just developing a sound. And yeah, in time we added double bass and drums, and it became Zubop. So yeah, I was very lucky, or I'm really pleased that we all came together at that time when we were all sort of starting out in our musical careers, and so
So would that have been sort of mid 90s, something like that?
it
Mid
was
80s?
86 was our
Oh,
first
right.
album.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, going back that far,
Right.
and we all had some connections on the free music scene as well. So our very first drummer was called Tebeli Perry, and he was both on the African music scene and the free music scene, and he had a drum kit made of African drums and
Oh, right. Okay.
cymbals, which was lovely, which was really exciting. And equally, our first double bass player was called Roberto Bellatella, and he was also very much on the free music scene. And then later on, the sort of personnel stabilised with a guy called Sean Randall on the drums and Duncan Noble on the bass. So yeah, I mean, it was a great band to be in, and yeah, we were encouraging each other's composing
Yeah.
and playing together. And yeah, apart from playing a lot of gigs in the UK, we did 6 tours of Germany over the years.
Oh, fantastic.
That was in the 90s. Yeah, it was great. So literally cramming into a converted Ford Transit van, quite cramped conditions, but really good spirit. And yeah, we recorded 4 CDs as Zubop, and by the fourth one, we'd pretty much expanded to a 7-piece with the addition of John Blackwell on guitar.
Hmm.
Then Duncan, our bass player, made connection with 2 Gambian master musicians, Jules de Camara and Jagar Sona. I think that was originally through some world music jam session that was happening in Hackney, where Duncan lived.
Right.
Yeah, and then first of all they guested on a couple of tracks on one of our albums, and then we thought, well, actually this is just working so well that the project became Zubop Gambia, and it was a
Okay.
9-piece with the 7 of us and the 2 Gambian master musicians, and that was great. And we recorded a live album at Ronnie Scott's, which we released. I think it was just called Zubop Gambia,
Hmm.
with our compositions on it. So that's truncating about
Yeah.
15 or 16 years of or more of time, and I guess somehow it possibly just got too big. You know, 9-piece band is absolutely fantastic, but can get difficult to sort of keep on the road
Yeah,
properly.
of
And
course.
equally, quite a few of us were moving away from London, and
Mm.
so it started off as a London-based band, but then getting everyone together literally to play was getting more challenging as well. So it kind of definitely went to the sort of mid 2000s, but round about well, in fact, 2004, I decided to record a trio album. So I thought, well, I've got this 9-piece. I'm going to go to something a bit more compact.
Quite a bit
So,
more compact.
yes, that's right. So complete contrast. Um, and yeah, I was quite pleased to just have a completely contrasting project. So I wrote all the music for that one as well. We did one cover version, this from the Buena Vista Social Club, Chan Chan.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
opening song,
that,
isn't it, on
yeah.
that
That's
album?
right.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. Very, very well known. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did that on the trio album, but apart from that, it was originals.
Ah, cool. So yeah, because I think as the was the Sen and Cove, was that the quartet?
That was my
Yeah.
first quartet album. That's right.
Right.
So
What was the trio album before that then?
it was called Direction South.
Ah,
Um,
okay. Yes,
yeah,
yes, 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 yeah. I've seen
if
that
you got
mentioned in one of Ian's reviews. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, may well be. It's. I don't think we've got any physical copies anymore, but it's on Bandcamp, I do believe.
Ah, okay,
Direction
cool.
South. Yeah.
We're going to send out the links later on. Cool.
And where did we get to? So yes, I made contact initially. I mean, there've been a couple of saxophone players in the quartet. My first saxophone player was working with Carlos Lopez Real, um, really beautiful alto and soprano player. So yeah, we made contact, and it just seemed like a good thing to explore further. And at the time of writing Sten and Cove, I had just moved to the southwest of England
Mm.
and was, being inspired by the coastline and writing pieces there. But Carlos was a connection from London still, and so
Right.
we were getting together for touring and recording and so forth. Um, So Carlos Lopez Real was in the band for at least 10 years, and I think two of the CDs were with him. And then more recently, I've been working with Samuel Eagles.
Hmm.
So Samuel Eagles, yeah, a few years back, he was on this Take Five serious Take Five mentoring scheme,
Right.
and he's got phenomenal technique and really lovely player to play with. And he's on our most recent album for the quartet, which is called Umoya.
Cool. So that was 2015, that one that came out, was it?
That's right. I think, yeah, yeah. I think effectively it was 2015, 2016. That's right. Yeah.
Cool. And I was surprised, I suppose, to see. I hadn't noticed before, but I was looking back at some of the reviews that Ian had written on gigs that you've done in the past and
Yes.
such.
Right.
Because we had Romana Campbell play our last gig 2 weeks ago,
Brilliant.
and I saw that you got in 2017. You had the Welsh quartet that played at Brecon
That's
Jazz
true.
Club for a bit with Romana
Yes.
in that band. So
That was
what a
brilliant.
coincidence that
Well,
you
it's
happened to be
fantastic. Yeah, and
booked
that was
together
a
back to back.
really fantastic moment. Yeah, working with her for I think it was just one or two gigs, but real privilege to work with her. Really lovely.
Yeah, that's cool. We got her on. She was on 2 weeks ago. We'd originally had her booked for. I did a series of drummer led bands in January 25. I have to think about year numbers now. Yeah, last year 25. And so she was actually planned to have her up for that, but she had to postpone the gig.
Right.
So we got her on. Yeah, last week. Where are we now? About a week ago. Where are we today? Friday. Yeah, yeah. So that was a wonderful. I love these little connections that you find
Yes,
in
that's
things in the
great.
musical journeys. People are all connected somewhere along the way. So yeah, the lineup that we've got. So that's with Samuel Eagles
Yes,
on sax.
that's right. And then we on the double bass we've got Marcus Penrose. He's got his own trio project as well, which is called Aurelius, I believe, and he's worked quite a bit with Shirley Smart. Have you come across her?
I
She's a
haven't. No.
cellist, really interesting composer as well. So he's worked with her as well, and we've got Ted Carrasco on the drums.
Mhm.
Ted Carrasco got quite a strong background in soul as well. So he had or has a band called the Baker Brothers, or
Okay.
and that they're a soul band. And equally, he's recently been playing with James Taylor Quartet
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
organ.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, so he's got a really yeah, we sort of really communicate well on groove really.
Brilliant. Yeah, I, I just think I think they're coming up this way. I think it's
Oh wow,
yeah, there was at Lichfield. I think at Lichfield Jazz Festival might be. Yeah, one of the I've seen him build them.
fantastic.
He actually played. I think yeah, he was booked. It was just before COVID, or I think it was around at the Mars Bar, the
Right.
Independence, before I started there, and I'd heard that he'd. I don't think the gig went ahead. Or it may have gone. I'm not
Oh,
sure,
wow.
but yeah,
Hmm.
it was around about the time that COVID was happening. But he
Oh
done a
yes.
booking, so
Excellent.
we'll have to get him to swing by as part of Music Spoken here.
Sure. Yeah.
And so yeah, music wise, what have you got to look forward to? Is it going to be mainly stuff from those quartet recordings, or is there new
Well, quite
stuff?
a lot from those, and equally quite a lot of material I've written since those recordings.
Excellent.
There's a tune I've written most recently, which is called Pindorama, and Pindorama is the it's a name for Brazil, but in some of the native Brazilian languages, it
Okay,
means land of the palms. So
right,
it's a bit of a samba influence piece, that one.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got quite a good Latin following. I think we've got. I may be doing in September a series of Latin gigs together if we can
Oh,
get them to
wonderful.
from
Great.
the autumn program. Yeah, but certainly
Yeah.
I've got two artists already that are lined up but whether we can actually line up a series because there's a bit of a gap between them.
Right.
It
Yeah.
might just be some spurious Latin gigs but yeah, that's we've had a few bands that have gone down really well. So I love it.
Oh,
I love it
fantastic.
myself. It's
Yeah.
the energy and the joy joy of Latin music. Well,
Absolutely.
I suppose there's probably all sorts of dynamics in there, but most of what I listen to is very uplifting stuff.
Yeah, no, beautiful. And then I've got some other pieces like there's a piece called Walking in Starlight, which is um, very Afrobeat influence, so pretty much a tribute to Fela Kuti, really. It's,
Right.
the greats. And what else am I going to be playing? Complete contrast, there's a piece called Solitude, which is very meditative piece. And a couple of pieces from the Hour of Pearl album.
Right. Okay.
A piece called Meandering and a piece called As Evening Falls. So the Hour of Pearl is a title taken from a book by John Steinbeck.
Oh,
And,
right. Yeah.
that book is called Cannery Row. So Steinbeck, known for being a very doomy, gloomy writer, but this is actually quite a comedic book he wrote called
Oh, I
Cannery Row.
might have to look that one
Um,
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And equally, some very poetic lines. So the Hour of Pearl is a term he used to describe the dawn, or the hour just before the dawn.
Hmm.
Um, so I was kind of thinking about different times of day, and I was thinking about the dusk. So I wrote that
Right.
piece as evening falls um, from there. Just trying to think what else I've got.
Oh, you don't have to give it all away. You can
No,
keep.
no, no. Yeah, come along, folks that are
But
going
yeah, indeed.
to.
I think I'm really looking forward to it because it really is a good mix of styles and influences from around the world with the influences you've had and the
Mm.
music you've played and the way you compose. So, and I've always try and challenge those concepts of jazz. And I think people. I myself had the same. As a young teenager, going, "Oh, jazz. That all sounds the same. I don't like it." It's so uninformed really because I think you often people hear something and they go, "What's that? That's jazz." Oh, I don't like that. I don't like what I heard there. But there's just so much that it's spawned and merged with all sorts of other musical styles. That there's I'm determined to prove that there's some part of jazz that everyone will like.
Yeah,
Everyone will find
absolutely.
something that
Sure,
they'll
sure.
enjoy.
Yeah, no, it's an incredibly wide field.
Cool. So, any plans sort of coming up for anything, any projects or anything new for yourself? Or?
Got a fair few dates set up with the quartet, really. So at the moment, that is still definitely the focus of my creative input. Doing a couple of dates in Wales after our Worcester
Mhm.
date. Then we're playing the Nailsworth Festival later in this year near Stroud.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Looking forward to that one. Um, yeah, hopefully we've got another couple of London dates. They're just sort of irons in the fire at the moment, but I mean, it's still to be finalised. We did one in March, and that was really nice at a place called Toulouse-Lautrec.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I heard of that. Yeah.
Really nice vibe there. Yeah, nice place.
Yet to get there. I've got a
Oh,
list of clubs I'm ticking off. I was wondering actually, did I first meet you at Sound Cellar in Poole? I'm wondering if we might have met in the audience at one of the gigs
oh,
early. Because I
that's
know I met
possible.
you in person at the Jazz Promotion Network, but the other day I was
Yes,
thinking, I was
yes.
wondering if I might have seen you at the Sound Set. It would have been in the sort of
That's
2023, because
incredible. Yeah, there was
that's
one
your neck of
gig.
the woods, isn't it? Sort of.
Roughly, well, the weird thing about Dorset is it's such a wide county that
Right.
if I go to the Sound Cellar, it's 1.5 hour drive.
Oh, right.
But nevertheless, I did make it over. Was it the Dave Mannington band? Were you there for that one?
I, no, I don't think. No,
Oh,
no. It may have not been, but I was thinking that, yeah, I was wondering if I'd met you in the audience there before, but
could well be. Could well be. There could be these moments in the past. Definitely.
cool. And any plans for another album?
It's certainly on the cards, so I'm sort of examining the options. Really, it's quite an undertaking these days
Yeah, yeah.
to make and release an album. So just thinking about the best way to go about it. But yeah, it does. It's kind of definitely a logical and obvious step at the moment. I've got a lot of new material, so
That's
a bit excited
fantastic.
to get it out there.
Yeah, great. Well, we're really looking forward to hearing that on Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday, the 9th of April at the Mars Bar in Worcester. And thanks so much for your time today, Philip,
Social pleasure.
joining us on a Good Friday.
Yes, indeed. Right.
So yeah, safe trip up from Dorset, and we'll see you on the
Thanks.
9th.
Yeah, superb. Looking forward to it.